and I foresee us being able to complete that in a couple weeks.
And the one thing or item of interest that needs to be done is, Mr. Coronado, working with your staff. We're gonna have you assign somebody that will be there for the training as part of the program. So once the trained folks and the contractor close it up, we want to have an individual that understands the process, how to access the system and the control, the recommended maintenance. And most importantly, I want to emphasize that you do have a 1 full year warranty on that system through the contractor. And of course, there's going to be an extended warranty on the equipment itself as part of the program. But overall, we're satisfied. It was a big undertaking, a big project, and it's functioning like it was supposed to under the special project.
George, what about the doors on top? Do we get the doors, the ones that go on top of the high school?
Yes, sir, the doors have been installed. There is some work to be done. Obviously, they have to be painted, fluorescent and red. So we're working on that, and it should be done in the next couple of days. Also, there's some cleanup work we have to do. There's some debris still left throughout the campus that we're working on, picking up and, removing it from the campus and moving it over to buildings and grounds.
And Mr. President, one of the things that will have to be done before we close out is that my staff, myself, and accompanied by the personnel you assigned for training, we're going to go through it and generate a punch list to provide it to the contractor. And once that gets done, then we will be ready to recommend you all accepting the system as substantially complete. When that happens, that's when the warranty takes effect.
Perfect. Any other questions?
Just make sure that one of us are there. Yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Actually, Mr. Lasser and I met last week. We're gonna create a checklist. We're gonna do a walkthrough and also the invitations to all the board members if you want to be part of that walkthrough.
Thank you.
Then lastly, I have the work orders list. The maintenance department has been working very hard with the principals to make sure that the work orders get completed. As you can see, we still have some pending items. In some cases, it's because we need some parts, but we'll be on top of it. And as we meet with the principals, this is one of the things we ask them. Do you have any questions?
Have you looked into an automated system? It's electronic and it's easier to track.
Yes, that is a very, very good question. We have, and we're looking into it. Once we find the three, we'll bring it to you so you can give us some guidance as well. I'll talk to you about the budget in executive session, and then you let me know from there.
Any other questions? Mr. Pesinas, are we back online? All right, perfect. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, girls and boys cross country presentation. Our district champion is going to round of applause.
This time I would like to present Mr. Ivan Gonzalez. Let's give a round of applause.
Friends of the community, thank you all for having us today. Last week, we were fortunate enough to, 2 weeks ago, we had our district cross-country meet, and we were very fortunate. The kids have been working hard. If you've seen us on the road, you've probably seen us since May, kind of taking up some of the roads when we, do our training. But our girls ended up district champions for the 4th time in a row. So it's a huge accomplishment on the girls' side. Our boys freshman team won the district title, our boys JV team won the district title, and our boys varsity team won the district title. So we had a lot of trophies coming back to for us this past week, or 2 weeks ago at the district meet. Last week, we were fortunate enough to participate in the regional meet. Our girls ended up, a career best 9th place finish as a team. And our boys narrowly missed qualifying to the state meet. A little upsetting, but we're very proud of the kids. We do have 2 students that we do have advancing to the state meet that will be participating in the state meet this Saturday in Round Rock, and we're excited. We're proud of all of them, but we are hoping that these next two, or these two that we have advancing to the next round, go and really show, what Progreso is all about. So at this time, we'd like to call a few students up to be presented and honored with their further accomplishments. Three of our girls that are not here with us are currently playing a volleyball game, so they're out. It's our district champion, Alexa Galvan, Lorena Cerda, and Maria Blanco. With us here today, we have Gabby Ramirez, Giselle Ramirez, Diego Garcia, Isabella Garcia, and Alice Park. On the boys' side with us here today, we have our captain, JP Pineda. One of our state qualifiers, Martin Villarreal. Another one of our state qualifiers, Nathan Villarreal. Oswaldo Ramon. Victor Cruz. Orlando Barbosa. Kevin Mendoza, and Diego Rodriguez. We'd like to thank the entire school board, the administration, the community for supporting us the entire season. We hope we made you proud, and I know the kids are going to work extra hard next year to continue making you proud. We'd like to thank all our staff, our assistant coaches, Coach Garcia, Coach Gary, our trainer, our athletic trainer, everybody at the high school, Ms. Aguilar, Ms. Other Aguilar, Mr. Coronel, our athletic secretary, Ms. Diamante, I don't know if she's here. Thank you all for all the support the entire season. We truly appreciate it. I know I cannot say how proud I am of these kids just because, they worked really, really hard, and it hurt to not get to that next step, but we're working hard and we're going to get there. So again, thank you very much.
All right, at this time, we're gonna be three. We go to the band presentation. Congratulations on Division I. Give them a round of applause.
We have Mr. McMichael, our band director. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mr. McMichael. I am the Director of Bands here in Progreso, and I'm here to recognize our accomplishments over the past 3 years, 3 straight years in a row. I'm here to serve this community and students. Many of you may know my story. I used to teach in Brownsville. I live in Brownsville. I drive here every day. It's very peaceful to come out here to great people and great bosses, because I have plenty of them. When I took this job over, the first day there were 11 kids there. I said, oh man, what am I gonna do? Because I just came out of a program, one middle school alone there in Brownsville, Falk Middle School, which is southmost, 350 kids alone just in the band program. So I took a chance. My wife said, you can either have a bad attitude or you make it what it's worth. These kids every day, I don't even think of it as a job anymore. I just come to work and serve, and that's what I've always been for the past 21 years. I know some people think I look young, but I'm actually 45. I'm getting there, getting close to there. But I'm happy to serve this community, and hopefully in the future, we can start building up, because we have some other schools that drop down to 3A that we're not too happy about, that they're really big band programs, but we will build a program the correct way. So I'm here to recognize our students, and thank you for recognizing our band. So let's have our students come in. Okay, first one, Adele Barrera. Next one, Frankie Incourt. Yesenia Flores. Yeah, that's fine. Alejandra Guerrero. Alessandra? Amaria Garcia. Eileen Pena. Dianelli Rodriguez. Delilah Ramon. Diego Gonzalez. Lidia Gonzalez. Felix Marquez. Emily Castillo. Jason Germain. Caitlin Garcia. Recognizing you, brother. Michael Maxwell. Maya Luna. Natalie Quintana. Oh man. Marmolejo. Randy Velo. Taylor Velo.
Well, we'd like now for the picture. I would like to report that our Progress YSD band will be getting new uniforms.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, bosses.
For the parents of the band and cross country, we have some cake at the cafeteria. Para los papás de banda y de cross country, tenemos aquí un pastelito y poncho, que si quieren pasar a la cafetería que está al lado.
Gracias, gracias. Pásenle, pásenle.
Gracias por todo el apoyo. Thank you very much for all the support. Go Red Ants!
Do we have somebody over there cutting the cake?
Yes.
All right, at this time, we're gonna be for the principal's presentation.
Yes, good afternoon, members of the board, community. We're gonna have our principals present different items to you. This is the time, if you wanna give us suggestions, we're not gonna get upset if you feel that there's a way, for instance, to change the master schedule and it would be better to double block instead of just having one. This is the time. We're gonna be talking about star results and goals. Accountability plan, the principal will tell you what is it that we're doing right now in comparison to last year to try to get those goals. Professional development, they'll tell you what professional development we have throughout this year, the ones that we had during the summer, and what's upcoming. Also, the type of meetings they have with their administration and with their teachers. The measure of rigor, how is ETMS for high school or elementary or early childhood measuring rigor as they go and do the walkthroughs, and also the different literacy initiatives that we started this year. We will start with Ms. Aguilar from the high school.
Good evening. I believe all of you have our scores there. That's what Mr. Coronado handed out. We improved in just about every area. There was one area where we kind of stayed the same. But if you look at our scores, and I'll go over 2023, 2024. In English language arts, we were at 60%. In 2023, we went up to 64%. And our goal is to go up to 68% this coming year. In math, we were at 65% in 2023. We went up to 67%, and our goal is to hit the 70% this coming year. In science, 2023, we were at 87%. Last year, we were at 86%. That's the only area where we went down a little bit. And our goal for 2025 is to be at 90. Social studies, we were at 90% in 2023. We were at 95% this past year. And reaching that, getting past 95 is kind of difficult, but our goal is to be at 95% or higher. We don't want to lose ground in the social studies. For all tests taken, in 2023, we were at 71%, and this past year, we were at 76%. So as you can see, all our scores went up in all areas except for that one in science where we went down 1 point. High school is a little different when it comes to accountability. It's not just our STAR scores that they measure. So our STAR scores are just 40% of our accountability. The other 40% comes from CCMR, which is college, career, military ready. And then 10% comes from our graduation rate and so forth. So even if we were to get 100% in all of our areas in STAR, we still wouldn't be at A or B, because it's only 40% of the accountability. So even if we had 100% across, we would still be at a 40. So just think of it that way, that it's not just our STAR scores that give the high school their rating. I know Mr. Coronado talked about our snapshot, and just to give you a brief overview of where we ended up with our snapshot, and I don't think you have that info, but our attendance, like he mentioned, was at 95%. Our ESL population, or emergent bilinguals, were at 52%. Special ed, we have 8% of our population is special ed. 8.5% is 504. 14% is GT. 7.8% is migrant. The area where we grew the most and is probably going to hit us or affect us the most is our immigrant population. We have 25 recent immigrants, which is 5.7%. Out of those 25, 15 came in last year. So that's where we took the biggest hit, and that's where we really need to drill down and start working with our recent immigrant kids, which is a little new to us because we've never had this many kids that are recent immigrants. Our career technology, which is another big area of the CCMR, currently we have 96% of our kids are enrolled in at least one or more career technology class. And it used to be that the state would give you so many accolades if you had kids enrolled in career technology. But about 2 years ago, they changed it. And now they're saying not only do they have to be enrolled in career technology, but they have to complete a program of study, which is what really got us in CCMR, because we hadn't really aligned all our CCMR classes or our career technology classes with our programs of study. And I'll get into that in a little bit. And then our early college, we have 107 kids who are in early college, or 25% of our kids are early college kids. For the first 6 weeks, we had 85% of all our students passed their classes. So we're off to a great start when it comes with our kids and passing their classes. Going back to our STAR scores, and I always like to compare not just with us, but with the district, with the state, and then with the region. And when it comes to the approaches, we're right with the state, which is 74%. The district is at 70, and the region is at 74, and we're at 74. So we're either at or above the state or the region when it comes to approaches. The area that we really need to target or improve is the meets and the masters. And that's where Mr. Coronado comes in, and he's told us about the rigor in the classrooms. So that's our big focus this year, is just making sure that there's rigor in the classroom. And the way that we're checking for that is not only do we look at the lesson plans, but as administrators, we went through kind of a mini training. So we look at Bloom's taxonomy, and we look at what verbs are being used in the lesson plan that align to Bloom's taxonomy, and then where are they at, and so forth. And then when we go in and do the walkthroughs, we take our T-test rubric, which is our evaluation system, and look at where are the teachers based on the T-test rubric. And then from there, we sit down with the teachers and say, okay, how can you push the needle instead of just the basic questions, but challenge the kids with the whys, the hows, and how could it be different, and why did you get that answer, and that sort of thing. So that's our big focus right now, is just improving the rigor, and then getting back to the career technology and making sure that our kids complete. Just a little bit more on the career technology. Last year, according to the state, we only had 7 completers. And we had close to 90 kids in career technology, but only 7 actually completed a program of study, which was a big eye-opener for us. And to kind of, when they measure career technology, they're always 2 years behind. So it's not like last year's kids, it's the kids from 2 years ago. So that's kind of hard for us to try and fix because those kids are not even with us anymore. So all we can do is fix it from now for the next 2 years. So what we've done is we revamped our master schedule to where now every program of study has all 4 levels. It used to be that we had a program of study, but we only offered 2 classes in it, so there was no way the kid was going to complete. So now we offer the 4 classes in each one of the programs of study. And just to go over the programs of study, we are very blessed. We have 8 different programs of study, which is awesome for a school this size. We have animal science, graphic design and interactive media, marketing and sales, teaching and training, diagnostic and therapeutic services, cosmetology, personal care services, web development, and manufacturing and welding. So we have those 8 programs of study, and just think about it, each one of those has to have 4 classes. So that's 32 classes that we have just for career technology. Which goes back to what Ms. Coronado was saying, sometimes we don't have that room to have the double block because a lot of our teachers are doing 1 or 2 of the other things. So what we've done is we become very creative in that we've looked for classes that could count as an intervention but still have credit towards graduation. Because what was happening is we were putting our kids in these remediations and then they were getting behind in credits and then they weren't graduating on time. So what we've done for math is there's a class called strategic math that the kids go into. If they fail their 8th grade math, they go into strategic math and they still get a math credit towards graduation. The kids who are retesters take algebraic reasoning, which is also a 4th level math. So they still get their math credit, but they're still getting the remediation. Then we did the same thing in ELA. We have practical writing skills that any kid who failed 8th grade ELA goes into the practical writing skills, and then our retesters go into a creative writing class. So they're still getting credit and they're still on track towards graduation. For science, we did the same thing because you'll see in a little bit that science is an area that is targeted across the district. We're doing really well in science, but it took us a while to get there. And what we've done is if they failed 8th grade science, they go into an IPC class because that way they don't test until they're in biology, which is now their sophomore class. So we got very creative, but still trying to help the kid not stay behind with their credits. So that's what we did as far as interventions and getting the kids to where they need to be.
Let me say something real quick, Ms. Aguilar, because yes, going back to the presentation on the state compensatory, we had this conversation and DTMS has a very traditional double block. But when we met with Ms. Aguilar, the priority was CCMR because it is hard. I think we got a 54, which is a reflection of 2 years, and we were panicking. We went from a 95 to a 54 when they changed the accountability system. So the only way we could really play with the quote-unquote block classes was like this, to try to get the double credit per se. And to us, that was a priority, CCMR. And they had to sit down and do the master schedule. I put them and I made them do the master schedule by hand.
Yeah, we did the master schedule by hand, which took us a while, but it worked and we got it done. And the other thing we did with the CCMR is now we do CTE credit audit checks. Before we would do credit audits just to make sure the kids were on track to graduate, but now we're looking at CTE, and they started with animal science. Okay, what's the next class? What's the next class? What's the next class? So that we get them to graduate. So as I mentioned before, 2 years ago, we only had 7 completers. This year, with everything that we've done and tracking and so forth, we should have 65 completers this coming year, but we won't see this effect until 2 more years. So last year, which will probably come into effect this year at some point, we had 51 completers. And then the other area that they get us also on CCMR is IBCs, or industry-based certifications. So in that area, we only had I think it was 4 who had gotten a certificate of some sort. This coming year, we should have 22 who will get some sort of certificate, but we're still working on that and making sure that we have the right courses and the right tests and so forth for our kids. So we're moving, it's just a lot. It's a lot when it comes to the high school. It's not just STAR, it's not just the testing, it's a whole lot of other things. One other area that got us was our federal graduation rate. We were at 89.7, which we would think that's awesome. But federal graduation rate is like at 92 around here at this point. So our goal this year is to go from that 89 or that 90 to a 92% graduation rate. And we're on track for that, so I'm not really worried about that one.
A lot of this data has to do with peaks.
Yes.
So are we tracking everything correctly? Because, I mean, if you have a kid enrolled, you do snapshots and he leaves and then he doesn't come back, and then, I mean, PIMS plays a crucial role. Are we making sure we're tracking that data?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I mean, everything, and I'm talking, she mentioned EB students. What are we doing for intervention for those kids? Because the recent immigrants, they're a total different project.
Yeah.
It's different project than the regular EB. So do we have, I mean, are we hoping that these kids belong to our district first of all, because we know we're so close to the border that residency, et cetera. We need to make sure that's on point. And we have a student support or grade literacy programs. I mean, I can use the intervention from the elementary, but it's not going to work because it's a 9th, 10th grade, or 11th grade. So we need to make sure we're looking into those resources again. Like, 9th graders cannot get a 2nd grade, and I learned the hard way because I was trying to do my 2nd grade literacy and fluency with my high school students. It doesn't work. So we need to make sure we have that on track. Also, that the principal is receiving support because, I mean, as she mentioned, the high school is not, it's not an easy task.
I have given the high school everything that they did have.
It's like, yeah, do you have everything? She's not alive. Okay,
After the HVAC system.
no, that's, I'll get to that later. Okay.
Honestly, the area that we would probably need help with is getting more staff to do some of these targeted interventions for the kids. Before, we used to have a staff just for early college and then a staff for the high school. But because our enrollment numbers were going down, we went through attrition. So now we have to share the teachers from the early college with the teachers at the high school, and that.
And then comes to professional development for the
Right.
teachers too, because an early college teacher, we know it for a fact, is not used to a high school student. It's a different breed. I'm going to say that. And as a teacher, I can say it. So if you give them the correct tools, the professional development, you can have them help you, but first we need to equip them with the right stuff. So it just, I mean, that's another one. And then the dropouts. I know you mentioned dropout rates or graduation.
Right,
rates.
graduation rate.
Hand in hand. What are we doing? Do we put committees? Does parental come and help with that? Are we doing home visits? What are we doing to track them? Because that again goes back to teams, but if we can recover those dropouts, I mean, we don't have to worry as much to start because we're focusing on the CCMR where everything comes in all into place. We just need to make sure we're all working.
In some cases, we have this conversation, in some cases, we have students, since we're so close to the border, that go to Mexico. And
Háblale al tío, le primo, a todos.
No, yeah,
They
you
have-
gotta motivate them to stay here, look,
Yeah.
before they even drop out.
Find a GD
Yeah,
program.
what are we
And I'm
doing
so
about it?
glad about the Alexis and the revamping because I mean, that's motivation, the sports, the UL, all of that's gonna, maybe it'll help us even recover the kids who left to South Texas ISD and Westlaco ISD, but we just need to make sure we're working.
And sometimes it's because of the grades, like, hey, I'm failing, okay, what are we doing about the failing? Like, are we retesting them? What are they failing? Or, like, keep an eye on why they are failing.
Right.
What can we do to keep them, make them redo the test, but after we explain to them
Right.
what is correct.
And we just started our tutorials, which we're the first school to start tutorials because of that, because it has, one, because we have retesting coming in December, and two, because if they fail 6 weeks, more than likely, it's very hard for them to recover and pass a semester, which means they go behind in credits, which means they will graduate, and it's just a domino effect. So we've already started with our tutorials with those kids that are that failed the first 6 weeks. And thank God we didn't have that many, but we've already started with those kids. And the other thing that we're doing is we're going to have a training on the 8th, where Region 1's gonna come in and train the teachers on how to do goal setting with the individual students. Because we're doing like, okay, we need to be at 76%, but to a kid,
Yeah, it's not about the numbers, like,
Right.
I don't wanna care about the numbers, I wanna care about the students.
Right.
That's who I care about.
And-
Numbers
and-
is regardless of the students, I don't want them to drop out, I don't want them to fail. And if they fail, I want them to comprehend what they're failing and restudy them,
Right.
repractice and.
And the other thing that's really worked really well for us is our credit recovery program. So our kids can do online classes and they can work on those at home or they can work on them after school. The only thing that we require is when they have to take the test, they have to take it at school, just so that we can monitor and make sure with fidelity and so forth. But our credit recovery program has done wonders for our kids. It used to be when I first got to the high school 7 years ago, I think, we had a whole day of credit recovery classes. Now we don't have credit recovery classes because we can use that teacher somewhere else and we don't have that many kids. So now it's done after school. And that, I think that's just worked wonders for us, like I say before. And I used to tell the teachers, why do I need you if the computer is going to do it for me? So that was that mindset that we also needed to change, because a lot of times teachers were saying, well, do it in credit recovery, do it in credit, but that's not the point of credit recovery. So credit recovery has worked for us as far as graduation and so forth.
How about the social emotional aspect? Because I know that's a big one for everyone. We
Yeah.
hired a consultant and then she travels from one school to the other. That would be something I take place. I know Ms. Correa is an LPC, but you know, she's also an administrator, so she doesn't have time.
We've gotten training in social emotional, all our teachers have a training in social emotional.
But they work so many times. It's
Exactly.
like me, I have a
Exactly.
scheduled meeting for the student, because she wanted to talk to me about something, because she wanted to vent. I had another meeting, I forgot, ya se me pasó, y la niña pobre, like, that's where we need someone dedicated just for that. To allocate that time and that specialty for the kids.
Be like a social worker.
Yes, like a social worker LPC for the
student.
district.
Isn't that for the counselors?
Modo mismo academic counselor que.
Social emotional.
I don't know, I grew up with a counselor.
Yes, pero no.
That was her job. Hey, I have a issue.
No, it's not something.
The other thing that we've done to help with the social emotional is we got a grant and we have an MOU with UT Health, UTRGV Health, and they do a lot of telemedicine.
T-chat, I have
and
it too, but it
T-chat.
doesn't work, it's
Well-
not personal.
Well, what we've required is we've asked them to come in instead of doing it, so they come in and do the sessions on campus with the students.
But I mean,
the
I don't know
only thing
what the
is-
other principals think.
Yeah, there's so many that sometimes.
Oh, the
kid-
line goes all the way to like May.
Yeah, so the kid doesn't have an appointment till March.
Yeah.
Because there's so many.
And attendance, that's the other big one.
Attendance, we're working on it.
Yeah,
This
emotional
is the
support,
best.
The coach helps a lot.
Mhm.
Coaches help a lot, because they're the second parents.
Yeah.
They're not.
Any other questions?
Any other questions for the high school? Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you, Mr.
Aguilar.
Aguilar.
Mr. Aguilar took all
She
the
was the
time.
first one. She was the first one.
We try to do it like this, we could probably do a workshop later on, but I wanted to keep here on summer.
I do
Now
the
we
same
start.
everything.
Now we have it, Molina.
Good evening, members of the board, board president. I just want to say that when I saw the parents clapping and everything, I could feel that red pride. You know, so proud of our kids, because we do have some of the best students at the middle school already, 7th and 8th grade. They are participating in the marching band, so that's, you know, it feels good that they're being successful in sports. Our kids are really trying and they're doing really good. So we're very, very proud of them. And so I'm going to present to you the data. Last time I went into details, so I'm just going to kind of summarize it here. So based on the data that we have from DTMS, we were able to maintain a B rating, and that's something to celebrate. Because if we look at other campuses, the middle school level, they drop from a B to a C, from a C to a D. So, it goes back to all the work that our students did and the teachers and everyone who helped us out to be able to maintain that B. And as you can see the data, I mean, there were gains all across. We had gains all across. The only area where we regressed a little bit was the science. And we do have experienced teachers in the science 8th grade, but the teams are changing, especially this year. There are a lot of new teams that are changing, so it's going to be even more challenging this year for the 8th graders that are going to be taking the science. So what we did, we started planning them that summer. We started doing curriculum writing because we knew that this was coming. And so we always want to be proactive as to what we're going to do to, be ready for whatever challenge is coming our way. So, like I said, science was the only area where we regressed 5 points. But other than that, we have from 5 to 10 point gain all across in all subject areas. Also, if you look at the approaches, like there was improvement in the means, which is on grade level. There was improvement all across in all subjects. In the master's level, which is, master's level is telling us, are we preparing the students for college? Okay, so we always look at the level 3, and I always tell the students, okay, I don't want you to be satisfied with just passing the test. For me, it's about you getting meets or masters, because that's really telling me that you're being prepared for the future. So that's our challenge here. There were a lot of improvements there, but of course, I'm not satisfied. Based on the data, I'm not satisfied with the masters. At one point, I know DTMS, we were able to get all the decisions. I think it was in 2016. We were able to get all the decisions. So we already made it happen, so we can make it happen again. What happened was after 2016, we did lose a lot of teachers. We've been losing teachers to Westlaco, to IDEA. And so that has been really hard. And I'm going to tell you this, in the time that I've been at the middle school, I have already trained 3 different groups because teachers have left. At least 1 year, I had about 50% of the staff that left. So just imagine training 50% in a new year with 50% that are experienced and 50 that are just coming in. So that was very challenging. The second group, we lost about 40%, and I want to say the last group was about 25%. So I think has helped a lot that you provided more incentives for the teachers. You looked into the salary and all those compensations. I think that has helped a lot. Because, like I always tell Mr. Coronado, we don't want to be a training ground. We want teachers to stay. Like, we build capacity, but then we want the teachers to stay in Progreso because our students deserve to have the best teachers. And so it really gets to me when I hear, oh, well, a teacher is leaving. Well, yeah, we train them, now they're leaving. So I'm glad we're making changes, and you're being very supportive with providing more incentives, compensation, and everything for the teachers. So our goals for this year in the math and all across, basically what I said is, and I talked to the teachers and I said, okay, let's review the data. Let's put our goals as to what we want to accomplish this year. So we came to an agreement that we wanted to increase at least 10 points all across. Is that doable? Yes, we can make it happen. But of course, we just need to stay very focused. We need to be monitoring the data consistently. So something that I do in the summer, just to give you a little bit of idea of what happens in the summer. In the summer, when I get the data, I start reviewing the data. All the data into detail, special pops, everything. From there, I decide as to, okay, what plan are we going to have for professional development? Because we want the professional development to be very targeted to the needs of the teachers and the students. So we provide content, professional development based on the needs. So it's very intentional. Then from there, what we do in the summer, I have always done master schedule by pencil, the old way. So I have never relied on the computer because for me, I need to know where every single student is going to be in my school. So what I do, I have always customized the schedule of the students, and then once I have the master schedule, I give it to the counselor, put it in the system. But if the light go out, anything happens, I know where a student is going to be at a certain time during the day, because everything is done manually. How does that help? Well, you're really targeting the needs of the students. So for example, any student that I know failed the START test in math and reading, I'm gonna make sure that student gets an intervention for math or reading, or both if we can. And I always, at the beginning, when I started the middle school, I just wanted to do academics. And then one coach told me, Molina, not everything is about academics. We need to balance it out. And I learned from him that, yes, at the middle school, we need to think more like we want to create well-rounded students that not only do they do good in academics, but also in sports, in fine arts. So I found a way in the schedule to say, you know what? I'm gonna find a way to give the students the opportunity to participate in sports, in fine arts if they want, but also if they're not doing good in academics, find a way to give them that intervention. So that's the way the schedule is at DGMS, like Ms. Coronado mentioned. We do have block schedule, and it has worked for me since I started at the middle school. So, and something that I did this year different than other years, we're customizing, we're doing an individualized schedule even now for students that they told me, Ms. Molina, well, I want this, and I want this, and I want this. So sometimes they're not gonna follow their group. They're not gonna follow their cohort. What I do with those students, I tell them, okay, just give me time, we'll make it work for you. And we tailor to whatever the student needs, right? So it's customizing it based on their needs, but also what they want to have so that they can be successful. So that's something that we did different this year, and it has worked so far. So, so like I said, based on the data, I mean, it looks good. We just want to increase at least 10 points all across in approaches, meets, and masters. And so something that we are doing this year that we started right away, for CHALPAS, we did a student camp. I didn't want to wait until second semester. We invited Dr. E.T. to come, and what I did, I created a schedule for all the students that are emerging bilinguals to go and participate in that student camp in the library. And it was different students going at different times. And so that was a workshop that was done for the emerging bilinguals. And then what we're doing is we're providing professional development for the teachers based on the areas of need. We do walkthroughs. We try to do as many as possible. The only problem sometimes, we don't document everything, but we go in, and that's something that we're working on to make sure we document everything, because whatever we don't document is like never happened, right? So we're trying to improve on that. But I told Mr. Coronado, for me, sir, at the end of the day, yes, for accountability, we need to do it. But for me, is giving the teacher feedback on the spot. I go in, and if I can, I do the feedback on the spot right away, or I wait until the end of the day and I meet with the teacher. I don't let that day go by without giving the feedback to the teacher, because I feel like if I need to tell you something, let's fix it right now and make it better the following day. So that's my approach when it comes to walkthroughs. Something that I do, I'm big on trackers. You go to my campus, I'll show you all the trackers that I have for attendance, for excessive absences. I can tell you exactly who are the students that have excessive absences. If we did a student conference, parent conference, home visit, warning letters, everything is tracked in the system. So we're tracking attendance, and we've been considering that middle school is hard to get at least 95, 96. We've been able to get at least 95 to 96%. When it comes to data, I'm data-driven big time. I track data left and right. And that's just my passion when it comes to numbers. But I translate that passion to my teachers. So I hold myself accountable, and I hold them accountable. But at the same time, when I do data conversations, I coach the teachers, because that's my area where I feel pretty strong. I share with them, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. Let's do it together. Let's do the data conversation together. Let's look at how the students are doing, how the students are progressing, who's not progressing, what are we gonna do different? What's the plan of action? And, I mean, you're welcome to go any day, to see those data conversations that we have one-to-one, and, we monitor. And I say we because it's the teacher, we work together. You know, it's a team. I'm not gonna just say, oh, well, your student is not performing, what are you doing? No, I'm there to support them and guide them on what needs to be done. And then for science, since science is the area of need in social studies, something that we're doing is we're trying to provide new supplemental programs that we have not used in the past, but I did some research in the summer. So we're implementing new supplemental programs just to support the teachers, because especially in social studies, primary sources are hard to find. So we were able to get a supplemental resource for the teachers to just provide that support when it comes to the instruction and the planning of the lessons. I would also like to give the teachers the opportunity to go to a conference or a training so that they can get new ideas. You know, sometimes we do bring Region 1 to do the trainings here in Progreso, but I feel sometimes it's important for the teachers to go out there and see what's out there. So that's something that we want to incorporate. And like also we have the SIAP model, which is targets that help us, and that's just, you know, to really provide the support to the English emerging bilinguals and for the teachers to know how to do the strategies. Elementary teachers are more familiar with, you know, the cooperative learning and all that, but at the middle school it's a little bit different. So we just need to provide that support to the teachers to get the training on that. So there's a lot of things. I mean, in a nutshell, we do a lot, but what I think what's gonna get the results, and from my experience, is monitoring the data, making sure that we're addressing the needs as we go, not wait 6 weeks, not wait a semester. Do them on a weekly basis. You know, what is happening, what is lacking, and just constant monitoring of the data. And getting the parents involved. You know, sometimes I do tell the teachers, you know, if we see that a student is struggling, let's bring the parent and the whole team together to see how can we support the student. What are we not doing right that we need to change? And so I feel like parental involvement is so important. And prior to COVID, we were doing literacy night, math night, social studies night, science fair, and then we had COVID hit. We stopped. And I told the teachers, I said, I'm not happy. I told them, I'm not happy not having those parental involvement activities because we need to get the parents involved. So that's when we started literacy night this past week. And we had a make and take session. We shared student progress. And I was like, we need to go back to what we have done in the past that has worked. So you're going to see more where we're going to be inviting parents more this year to just different activities that we're gonna have as a campus. I know one of the questions was administrative meetings. I do have administrative meetings with my office team at least once a week. Those are more like formal meetings where I meet with them and I have an agenda. Then I have informal meetings where I do check-ins, just check-ins daily. Okay, what is important for them? What is it that we need to focus on? What do we need to prioritize? And then we start the day. We also I like to have content level meetings. Content level meetings is mainly to talk to the department. So the content level meeting is mainly about curriculum and data. And then we have grade level meetings, but those are after school because the teachers don't have the same planning period. And we only do those, like, if anything, once a month. And that's mainly like if a student is having problems with attendance, is the student absent in every single class, then we need to have a parent meeting, or what are we gonna do? We need to have a plan. And then we have also teacher administrator meetings. What we have is mainly for data conversations. That's more like on a one-to-one meet with the teacher meeting just for data. How do we measure rigor? We use T-test. T-test is the rubric that we use to measure rigor, and something that I do. I think Mr. Coronado, well, he went to do a walkthrough with me, and we did walkthroughs together, and then we came back and we debriefed, and he said, sir, what did you see? Tell me. I want to see if, we're aligned. And we saw the need for rigor, and that's something that we have seen year after year. Rigor is not easy because we're looking at student expectation, like Ms. Aguilar mentioned, the verb. Do you pay attention to the verb? If the verb is telling you to analyze, the students, that's the mastery that the student needs to get. And unfortunately, if the teacher does not understand the student expectation, the teacher can be teaching, but the teacher might be teaching at a lower level if they don't understand the student expectation. So the way I hold my teachers accountable, I tell them, look, I want you to read the student expectation and read it to me and tell me what it means. And then they'll tell me. And then I tell them, okay, look at your exit ticket, because I do ask the teachers to do exit tickets every day, just to measure to see if the students master the tick for the day. And then that's where they see the disconnect. And they say, I'm running out. Well, here I was asking them to define, and what does the student expectation say? Well, it says to analyze. So there's a disconnect. And so we have those conversations, and we're learning together. But rigor is one area where we have problems. That's why we're not at the master's level. That's why we don't have 60%, 70% of master's level, because the rigor is an area of need. So we're working on that, and we're gonna plan professional development for the teachers, so that they can just get that support, how to help the students better when it comes to the level of complexity. Literacy initiatives, like I mentioned, we did Literacy Night. We do have an RTI period embedded in the schedule. That's something that we started a few years ago. And last year, what we were doing, we purchased novels, and we use a novel 2 days out of the week. And each grade level has a novel for 6 weeks, and they read the novel, and then they answer questions and they do projects. So that's something that we do, because we feel novels is a good way to integrate the reading and for the students not to feel that it's just a handout. So we do novels. And then another thing that we do during RTI, we try something that we're working on that we need to perfection. It's just the RTI block where they can really differentiate the instruction. I was an elementary teacher, so I have that background of working in small groups, doing centers and all that. I tried to implement that at the middle school. Ms. Flores will probably tell you, it's really hard because teachers have the mentality of, more like whole group. And I'm like, no. So we're working together and helping the teachers and supporting the teachers that it does work at the middle school to do a small group to differentiate the instruction. So our teachers work really, really hard, and I feel they just need the support. They just need the support from us, and I think they'll do great. Our students, we have amazing students. I mean, you go to any other school district, the teachers always tell me, Ms. Molina, we have the best students here at the middle school, because we're good. Like, we don't have big problems like other school districts. And our kids, I mean, they enjoy student clubs. We open student clubs during lunch, because to address the social emotional, I was like, we need to do something where the students have an outlet, where it's not academics, but something that they can enjoy. So we started student clubs last year as an initiative, and then I was asked in the summer to apply for a grant for the student clubs, because somebody out there found out that we were starting this initiative, and they told me, Ms. Molina, we want to give you the grant. Just apply for it, and you're gonna get it for your school. And so we were able to get $15,000 for student clubs. So all of those is mainly to buy supplies for the kids. We have Legos, it's just, a lot of activities that they can do during lunch. And then we did purchase a curriculum. Ms. Correa purchased a curriculum for the social emotional. I do have the last 15 minutes of the day in the master schedule to address the social emotional. We just needed a curriculum, so now Ms. Correa just informed me that we're gonna be getting a curriculum. So that's what we have, and I have more, but no. I think that's it.
I'm just gonna make a comment real quick. On November 8th, we have
the amenity presentation, and when Ms. Molina mentioned about teachers leaving, one of the things that had to do with insurance. And you know the hardships that we go through there. But now that we're gonna open the door for $50 for staff and also for their family members, that's great. So we're gonna do that presentation, and I think that's gonna be a great motivator for the teachers as well. I'm sorry.
No, I'm gonna close already.
All right.
I just want to thank the school board. I mean, I've been here for many years, and Mr. Ramos has been here. I think I think you've been here more than me in the board, but you know, it's a small community, you know, and I really enjoy working here because somebody mentioned it's not about a job, it's about the passion, about really making a difference. And Progreso has given me that opportunity. And I really appreciate all the support and everything. And I know you all are just trying to make it better. So thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Coronado and Mr. Hernandez, and the administrative team. Ms. Coronado has been very instrumental in everything. And so thank you so much because, you know, this is what it's about. Really making a difference for the kids so that they can take our place one day and they can be here presenting to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any questions?
I just wanna, you want more professional development for
Yes,
on
content,
the areas
content,
and not just regional. That's the issue.
yes, content,
And we're looking for social studies. If
Yes,
You guys know
social
anybody, social studies is
yes,
a challenge.
yes.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you,
Molina.
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we have a Progreso Elementary, Ms. Garcia.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm a bit short. Okay, so welcome, community, Mr. President, board members. Thank you so much for having us here today. So the first thing on the agenda, I guess, is something that I really want to celebrate. I take so much pride, and I want to thank God first, obviously, and all my teachers, our students, our parents. We managed to maintain our B rating. We've been able to maintain our B rating since the pandemic. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. These teachers are again passionate. Ms. Molina and all of our administrators here have mentioned it's about passion. This is not a job for us. This is basically what we love to do, and that's the reason we're able to get our kiddos where we need to get them. So our goal for this year, if you look in front of you, is obviously to maintain our B. Our biggest issue with our STAR results was in the rigor area. Our biggest focus is science. And I think I mentioned it last time that, just like Ms. Aguilar mentioned about comparing ourselves across the board to the other regions and the people in our district, and more importantly, the state. So within that science range, we are within the state average. And that was something I really needed to sell to my teachers because unfortunately they think sometimes that it's them, that they're doing something wrong. And there's always room for improvement across the board. We welcome constructive criticism. We always welcome any additional thoughts that would help us get us better. However, I like to share that information with them because I want them to know that we are within the norm. We are within the norm of the struggling area. So the whole accountability system is a huge monster. And with teachers, basically what we do at our campus is progress over perfection. I mentioned it last time. That's something we're very, very big on. So we celebrate every single progress from our students, and that's what we base our accountability on. Right now, our biggest focus is going to be on science, and what we've done to revamp our science area was we went from being departmentalized to semi-self-contained. All our teachers are teaching science, so everybody got a piece of the pie. And so in 5th grade, especially, we have a science interventionist, which that interventionist from State Comp comes in. He helps us, so our students there have a double science block. And so they see the actual academic, the vocabulary, and then they go to this teacher who is an amazing science teacher. And they see the hands-on, the application part. And sometimes you pass by there and you think, some of the other teachers around say, he's too loud, they're making too much noise, but the kids love his class and they're learning. And that's really what we embrace when it comes to teaching our students. And that's what we tell our teachers. It's about making it fun. There is going to be some time that you're going to walk in there, you're going to see some kids like that direct teach. It has to happen at some point. But the rigor in the classroom is what's getting us. So when we get to that, in order for us to maintain our accountability and go back to where we were, we need to go up in our means and masters. So how we monitor rigor, again, we follow T-tests, we do our calibration walkthroughs. A lot of our feedback is specifically on the questioning. So our teachers have Wednesdays, which is a non-negotiable time. They have to meet with their team, and so we work backwards. By Wednesday, they're already planning for the following week. It's not what's gonna happen tomorrow, if we don't wing it. But, so we're already planning for the following week, and they do annotations. So what they look at is what does the test look like? What are the guiding questions, and are they at that level that the TEAC is asking? That is one of our biggest focus right now, is do our teachers understand? And that's an area that we need to support them in. That's an area that I know I put it as one of my personal goals, is for them to understand the whole TEAC, which is our guidelines. What is it that you're teaching and at what level? Because the test is definitely at that higher level. And that's the reason we're missing that pain point. And we're very aware of that. We've done calibration walkthroughs, like I said, myself and Mr. Alvarado, my assistant, and we see the same thing. And so that's the feedback we give. And our goal, our vision is, like I said, okay, we're not gonna have, we already have our topic maps, which is what we teach. So it's more go back and do intentional questioning, because we're just human. We're human. And there's a point where you'll walk in and a kid is maybe trying to answer, and we'll answer for him, because our teachers are all mother hens and they don't want anybody to feel left out. So those are the areas that we talk about, and we give feedback to our teachers when it comes to the rigor and accountability. As far as professional development, literacy is a big thing, especially one of the biggest factors at our campus is the language. So we do have a higher number of students who are doing Spanish literacy, like we mentioned last time. So we embrace Spanish. I tell them, les decimos a mis niños, I love that you love the Spanish and that you know the Spanish, you can think in Spanish, you can whatever in Spanish, but at the end of the day, by fifth grade, going into sixth, everything's in English. You know, that's the way the state is. So our trainings have been based more for literacy support and differentiating the instruction in small groups. So how do the teachers, this is explicit instruction. It is difficult because we want to teach all of them at the same time. But one of the biggest things, if you go into all of our classrooms, one of our biggest initiatives is, where's your small group? I want to see your small group, and how often do you see that group? And we have trackers, just like Ms. Molina mentioned. We analyze the data and we move kids around. Okay, I don't need this one anymore. Guess what, Ms. Garcia? He's already reading, you know, at least 100 words per minute. I need this one now. So our focus is very different, I guess, than high school and middle school, because it's foundation. Okay, so that's what you're going to see if you ever decide to go and take a stroll down our elementary. You'll see a lot of that rigor, not just for our students that are lacking that support, but even our higher students, because those kiddos we got to maintain, and those are conversations that we have with our teachers. Like, if a student is a master's, he needs to stay at master's, and we cannot afford for them to regress. So those students also need that differentiated support. As far as, I was talking about literacy. So we've had 2 trainings already for literacy, differentiated instruction, understanding the TEACs, deconstruction of the TEACs. We have another one planned for these coming weeks. I'm not sure if it's this weekend or the following, but I know we have another training coming up. Other than that, our bilingual students is a big focus for TELPAS, because it's part of our accountability. Our goal is to move everyone one proficiency level, and we brought Dr. ET to do those camps that Ms. Molina was talking about. Those were really, really energetic. Like, she really matched a lot of our kids' energies. Like, that lady has that energy, and she matched their energy. And the teachers love the presentation. It's a hands-on approach. So we're hoping she can come back right before testing to give them that motivation and that good feeling, so that when they go into that test, they see it's just another, you know, I tell them all the time, it's just another test, don't worry about it. So that's our goal for our bilingual students. I don't know if you guys have any other questions.
You mentioned GT. So what are we doing to service our GT students?
Okay, so this year, our GT students, basically we use the problem-based learning. So they have projects already scheduled, and it's the ones that the state provides. This year, we were able to give our GT teacher an incentive. They go through the 30-hour training as well, so they completed the full-blown training. The students get pulled out, in my campus, they get pulled out Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and they have an allocated block, okay? They also have, it's during their RTI block, so we all have an embedded RTI, which is a response to intervention block. And during that block, so some of our students that are getting dyslexia services get pulled out during that block. Our teacher is able to work with other students in a small group, and then GT students also get pulled. So it's like a little bit of everything. That is how we're supporting the GT students. So at the end, they have a project. They actually have a project that they'll present. Last year, they presented to their whole grade level. They were super excited. We have amazing students, like Ms. Molina mentioned. Our community and our students, they have such big hearts that they're easily motivated. They really are, and we can mold them. So anything we give them, any shout out, we had a dance. We pied Mr. A on Friday as well for attendance. We really wanted the 97, 98. We didn't make it, but we still kept our promise, and they got to pie Mr. A. So our kids are really motivated with just the most minimal things. And I'm truly like blessed and thankful for that.
Staff-wise, are you okay? Because I mean, I know there's a lot of programs that they don't do, like how can we support them?
A lot of, I think right now with us is our numbers are really growing within the special ed area. So moving from dyslexia to SLD, we're moving a lot of those students. We still have a lot of students pending, obviously evaluations. So in that aspect, I think it would really benefit for us to get some additional support.
Paraprofessionals, like they help you with professional.
If there is, because if we can sometimes we always have those little bumps with people being out and stuff like that. As far as social emotional, that would be, I know you mentioned it in the first one, and I know everybody's been hitting it, and I think like, okay, that is an area that I feel we do need support in. So we do a lot of counseling, a lot of
We're not
counseling.
helping.
But we're not helping.
Disclaimer, I'm not a licensed professional.
I'm not either, but we do, our students, we have open door policy. And so in order to support our students, I think that would be a really good area or initiative, if something's possible, that they can give us that additional support. We do have counselors.
I haven't since the year started.
We do have counselors, and we make it a point for them to allocate that time, but it is really, really difficult because counselors also help us a little bit with accountability. Yeah, just like everything. And our teachers are amazing. Honestly, additional support, we've gone through PBIS, which is a positive behavior intervention system. We're part of MTSS, so we have a lot of.
You as administrator.
As administrators, we have a lot, and what I feel is like we need to extend this to our teachers, and that takes time and that takes money. And but a bottom line, if anything gets thrown out there today, is I feel that just supporting our teachers would really, really help us. That's all my teachers need, like planning time in order to implement.
I heard a whisper with our paraprofessionals, so I think that's what you need.
Any other questions?
Oh, good. Thank you for your assistance.
Thank you very much.
So much.
At this time, we have Professor Bruce Chalfant.
Hi, good evening, members of the board, Mr. President, and community. Well, I know that I do not have STAR data because I have the early childhood campus, which is pre-K 3 to second grade. But one of our focus areas in our CIP is our literacy. I know that has been one of the things that each of the principals have touched on. So as part of our CIP, our goal 1 is sustaining growth and academic achievement for our students. So I know you have the data that we presented last time. We are focusing on our reading, we're focusing on our reading, on those reading screeners for the beginning, middle, and end to make sure that the students are meeting the expected growth. I know that we look at different components. We did acquire the M-Class intervention this year, so that way we can have it all together, because right now our screeners are in different platforms.
We have the Commissioners Approved Texas Kindergarten Entry Assessment. We have, that's for our kinder. We have, under CLI, we have Circle, which is a screener for pre-K. And then for first and second, we have Diferente Hasle. So those are the assessments that we have that are across standardized. But we did get M-Class, and we're getting ready to evaluate and beginning of the year for students. So one of the areas that we target with our reading blog, we want to make sure that we do have that 45, even within our pre-K through second, we have that 45-minute RTI blog. And that is, as Ms. Garcia mentioned, that is a block where we strategically group the students in small groups. The teacher works with a small group, low middle students, no more than 5 students. We have the intervention teacher who works with no more than 3 students for the lower students. And then we also have the support staff that helps with dyslexia and our resource. And those are more specialized, more one-to-one, depending on their goals. That is geared towards our improving the academic for the students. We did have this year as well, we started last year with this explicit and systematic supplemental support, which was Hegri, and that is every day for 10 to 15 minutes, the teacher goes through phonemic awareness lessons. The students are really engaged. I know Mr. Coronado stopped by and Ms. Coronado to do walkthroughs, and that is a block that we felt, okay, we see students in 3rd and 4th, and they get a question in STAR that says, what's alliteration, what's rhyming? They still have trouble with that, and we've been doing that since pre-K. Those are skills that they learned during pre-K. So we went back and we found this resource is very explicit and systematic, where the students do it on a daily basis, and that has been working very well. I know that everybody mentioned the data, the progress, the data, making sure that we're tracking it. We do have fluency checks for our students, 1st and 2nd grade. Our kinder was like, well, how can we implement fluency checks because they're not reading yet? So they developed their own fluency checks, which is like sight words. Are they recognizing the sight words and that we're learning throughout the week? So they developed their own fluency checks. Well, this year as well, we implemented a student fluency, because we were looking at the whole class component tracker, but then the teachers, and then we created the students, so now the teachers are like, oh, Miss, like the students able to see, okay, am I moving? Am I not moving? Am I staying? What else can I do? A little bit more practice. So we were doing the student trackers. I know that with the component of literacy, we are doing AR across grade levels, pre-K through 2nd grade, and that the first, I know that was something that our teachers were like, but how are they gonna read? So now they're doing like the read alouds. They're doing the read alouds whole group, and then the para is taking them to the side so they can test. So they'll read the book throughout the week, and then they test. They do have some incentives attached to that, so the students are excited about that. We did have literacy night, which I know I'm very fortunate, we are all very fortunate to work with great teachers. I know I saw something that it was an alphabet, kinder alphabet fashion show, and I just like shared it with my teachers, and they were like, let's do it. So we had great like participation. Our parents were there last Thursday, and we had all these wonderful, it not only gave them a chance, an opportunity to work as a family to create the project, but it was geared towards literacy. That was one of the things that SBDM mentioned when we met. There's that we need to create more, and sometimes we say, oh, we don't want to keep the teachers a little bit, like we don't want to keep the teachers late, but it was from them. It was from the teachers that we need to have more parental engagement. You know, like after COVID, we were trying to get back into those academic nights, but they were the ones that brought it up. SBDM, the SBDM group said, Miss, we need to create those opportunities to parents to come in, because it's always the same ones that come for progress report card. So then I said, okay, then we're gonna invite, but there's gonna be something attached to it, right? So this time, we had a full house. We had a full house for our alphabet fashion show.
As far as our walkthroughs, we are doing calibrating. We want to make sure that Ms. Villanova and myself are calibrated when it comes to rating. Ms. Villanova went in and did a lot of the math observations or blocks, and I did the reading. But we go in together to make sure that we're calibrated for TIA purpose, so that way I'm not rating higher than her, or she's rating harder than I am. So we are focusing on, when we go in, we want to make sure that the students that the standard and alignments are there, that whatever the teacher is planning, that whatever we're planning, is being delivered, right? It's that the teachers are planning based on the standards. And then that if they are delivering the lesson, that how are they checking for understanding and mastery of the objective? The other component we have, when it comes to behavior, we are implementing, and I believe Ms. Mari mentioned, we are implementing a PBIS system. We created a matrix, and based on our MTSS training, our matrix, and we call it the Mighty Red and Star, and it's a matrix that targets each specific area in the campus. What is the expected behavior? So, we shared that with our parents this past literacy night, and it will be, and you'll hear the students want to be a Mighty Red and Star, and we'll announce how does that look. As far as professional development, I know that we've had several professional development. We have different programs. Most of the other principals already went through several. We do have, again, we do participate in MTSS. That's something that started with the early childhood campus, and then elementary came on board, and then we are slowly transitioning and adding as the whole component. It is a big thing, MTSS, but there are things that we're already doing, which is the intervention. It kind of covers the whole child. So it talks about academics, behavior, and the social emotional that everyone is that we are working on. We are also having our dual language content bridge planning. We are a dual language campus and a district, and for us, we are targeting during that content bridge time. We are targeting academics through translanguaging books. So that's something that the teachers have to plan. There's a lot of planning involved in that. As far as our, we do have our weekly, our campus administrative meetings with our staff. We have, well, Mondays are pretty much set for that. What is it that we need? What is it that we're working on for the week? Wednesdays we meet with grade levels. Every other week we meet with the grade levels, and then Thursdays we kind of leave we do walkthroughs, but we kind of leave the Thursdays open, because that's the day that we do meet with the administrative team and Mr. Coronado. So that's kind of how our week goes, and but we are very fortunate and I am very fortunate to work with a great team, because we're always communicating and what do you see, what do we need, and Ms. Coronado has been a great asset, and we thank you all for the support. The students, even though they're little, we are doing amazing. There's no crying, everyone comes in, goes to class. Everything has been great, and we're very fortunate with the staff, the type of teachers that we do have, because they're here for the students. And what do we do? And my staff, I always say, I just say a little, like, send a little note or anything. They're like, what do we do? Where? What? And so they're here for the kids. We're all here for the kids and for the students, and we do appreciate all your support.
Any questions?
The social emotional, do you need that support also at your campus?
The social emotional, we are yes, like as far as the curriculum that we have seen several curriculums, we have evaluated. We decided during the summer when we did the PBIS through MTSS, we decided to kind of say, okay, we can get this curriculum, let's go through this component. So that's when we developed the positive behavioral intervention system, and it's
be a mighty red star, and on the star, it creates like safety, trustworthy, accepting. So it has like a matrix to where the students, how should they be when it comes to each of the settings in the campus. So that's how we're starting that social. And then when it comes to the grouping with the social, so the counselors of support, I know you mentioned the coach is that third tier also, so we're utilizing everyone at the campus.
You would benefit.
From a curriculum, definitely, but right now, that's how we are, that's how we are supporting our campus.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Liam.
Thank you.
I'm gonna excuse him.
Yes, that's fine. Yes, let's do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys, so much. Mr. Gordon, you wanna jump to D1? I know Mr. Lazaro's here for
Yes,
word attorney.
Let me go ahead and go to the one review of something here.
Who's other presenters that we have, so we can get them out of the way? Anyway, why don't, Mr. Lazaro's presenting,
Yes.
we have Mr. Perez back there, is he still presenting?
So, Mr. Pettis, thank you very much.
We have Ellis too. So let's do who has D1 and D2?
Okay, it's gonna be Mr. Hernandez.
Good afternoon, everybody. The district went out for RFQ for engineer service for the EPA grant. We only received one proposal, which was into Fulcrum Consulting Service. We are recommending to authorize the superintendent to start negotiations with Fulcrum Consulting Service.
This was on the newspaper, we put it out for 2 weeks. We have to submit the application by November, so it's already.
So how do you see this? It looks good? I'm here. Yes, go ahead.
I'm gonna talk a little bit about it so that everybody has an understanding of how this grant process is gonna work. This is from the EPA Community Change Program, and the goal of the program is to put out monies to rural communities that are declared disadvantaged. And it's monies that were put out by the Biden-Harris administration back in November of 2022. What happened this past June was that EPA made a report to Congress to see how much of that program money had been allocated. And they reported that out of the $2 billion, only 335 million had been allocated. So all of a sudden they started promoting this. And there's a special allotment of monies for communities and school districts that are within 62 miles from the border. And the intent is to provide the funds to make your infrastructure resilient to hot weather, to cool weather, to storms. And the intent of this goal is to put an application together for the district, showing that there's a demographic need for the funds. The majority of your student population live in designated colonial areas, which scores very, very highly. There's a need to come in and evaluating your campuses to determine which campuses need complete roof replacement, need HVAC replacement, and also provides for installation of solar panels to subsidize the operational cost of your facility. It also provides for redoing all your parking lots and get away from the asphalt and go to what they call permeable type parking areas. And we've seen it in other areas where there's a small brick type of parking lot. And the intent for that is to better able to manage surface water runoff. You all talked a little bit about your fine arts building that needs some work. This funding can also be utilized to be able to enhance that and bring it up to speed with new roofing, again, new AC system, even a rain harvest system, so when it rains, you catch it and you can be able to water the grass. So it's a catch-all type of program. The school district, if we can justify, can apply up to $20 million block.
Mr. Russell, let me ask you a question, because I know it was brought up. Do we have to match it to 20%?
That's a very good question, Mr. Coronado. The answer is no match components.
Okay, so whatever we get, that's what we get.
That's what you're getting. And
I'm
as
gonna
far,
make you accountable for that.
and as far as I know,
I
and as far as I know, there's no other school that's applying for these funds along the Texas-Mexico border. So I think that's gonna help you all.
So the deadline is November,
18th.
and how long does it take for us to get
What?
granted the grant?
Well, I think that working with Mr. Coronado and your staff, I've had the honor of working with you all a number of years already, so I know what some of the needs are. And I know Mr. Coronado does too, and some of your lead maintenance staff. We can start working immediately tomorrow to start meeting some of the goals that we would like to do. The first thing is to have a budget that the court can present to Mr. Coronado and you, Mr. President, to kind of get a blessing and then start putting the package together. So it's something that is very, very doable with the time that we have.
I guess his question was,
Yes, I'm good.
when are we gonna know if we get it or not? More or less.
Before the end of the year.
Okay, so
Perfect.
Before the end of the year. These are rolling type of applications, and as they're coming in, they're getting reviewed, and they're awarded.
Okay. Any other questions? At this time, we'll need a motion for D1.
Thank you.
Motion with Villarreal, second with Martinez, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, Mr. Cruz.
Thank you.
D2,
230 is along the line with the EPA grant. We went out for request for qualification for wine management. We only have one RFQ, which is Lone Star Strategy Group, that's working along with Mr. Fulton.
any questions? All right. I'll need a motion for this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Church. Motion by Ms. Villarreal, second by Mr. Martinez, all in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes. At this time, we have D3, review and approve the football field turf proposal.
So the district went out for proposals to only purchasing co-op, approved purchasing co-op. We received 3 proposals from Geo Surfaces, KYA, and LS Construction. LS was the lowest bidder. There's a change, there was a change in the quote in the proposal, because there's a need, or maybe a need to upgrade the stadium to the license. So what they're doing, so they won't go as much high on the proposal that they have stated, they're gonna give out the turf, the upgrade of the turf, the 41,000 for free, and include the $50,000 for the rehabilitation.
Well, appreciate it, Mr. Church.
So the total proposal will be $1,776,000 with $10.
So once we approve tonight,
The lowest bidder.
I'll be meeting with them tomorrow,
okay,
so we can start the time process.
what's the estimated time?
4 to 5 months. So
So-
I'm gonna need to meet with the athletic department, schedule different games, different sports, especially soccer. We'll keep you posted.
It's done by graduation.
Definitely, yes.
What are we gonna do? Wow.
No, we'll probably, we'll talk to Ivan, more than likely, you know, local, probably Westaco or Santa Maria or Mercedes. Well, we could adjust our games, so that's not an issue. Okay. All right, well, I need a motion, so we can go ahead with Ellis. Eric, you can, track and field, right?
Track and field.
Track was already approved.
Perfect. Motion by Ms. Guerrero for D3 to go with Ellis. Second, Ms. Flores, all in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes. We go to D4, or, no, let's go back to, that's it, right? Presenting, or?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let's go to C1, Progressive ISD bilingual and ESL program evaluation.
Mr. President, we have a photo now presenting.
so again, this is another evaluation that's mandated by statute. So one clarification for state compensatory, anybody that's at risk is anybody that's at risk of dropping out. So all of the emerging bilinguals count. Even if I'm passing or I'm not passing, automatically if I'm an emerging bilingual, I'm automatically at risk that I can potentially drop out at some point, right? In this evaluation, it's gonna differentiate whether I'm passing or not. The state compensatory, it was all of the bilinguals, right? Whether I'm passing or not. It automatically gets the at-risk code on you. But this time around, we're gonna look specifically how our emerging bilinguals performing. So some of the things I'm gonna cover are mandated by section, the things I need to report to the board. First of all is how many students do we have that are classified emerging bilinguals? It's 52% of our district. It's 842. This is as of last year. This year we have 787 students. So there was a decrease of students who qualified for being emerging bilingual. This is our distribution, and it's pretty equitable as you see. It's around 250 to 200 students across all of the schools, the high school having the most. These are the number of students who were reclassified, meaning that they exited the program. They're not emerging bilinguals anymore. Last year, we only had one student who exited. This year, we had more students that exited because the criteria to exit changed. And now the criteria to exit for this school year is going to change, so we foresee having more students. So in the past, if you had accommodations on STAR, you couldn't exit. This time around, if you have accommodations, you can still exit as long as you get advanced high across all TOPAs and you pass your STAR. So we're going to start seeing more students exiting the bilingual program.
So you had almost the same amount of population at the high school as the elementary?
It's almost about the same. The high school has a little bit more, has like 20 students more, but mind you, because we're dual, in heck, they don't start exiting until third grade. So they stayed until third grade, until they start taking STAR, that's when we start exiting the students. And they have not been exiting because of the exiting criteria. It was so difficult for everybody to get at that time.
In reality, if it was up to us, we would want those accommodations for the students. So if you have to put that priority, the principal will say, we want those accommodations. So they were not able to exit. Now this year they will.
Did high school get this in training on Dr. 18?
Yes. Yep. Actually, we started training the teachers.
How the teachers? You're getting the PD also?
So one of the things that I wouldn't say like to be here. So one of the things that we've been getting from the high school teachers is like, I don't want training, I want you to show me. And I don't want you to show me like with other students, I want you to show me with my students. So like the first person to get trained was actually the high school. The first one that did the academy was the high school. Because the teacher is like, no, like show me with my students, like show me with the ones here, right? So that's what we're trying to do. So you're gonna see, going back to RDA, it's weird how our accountability works. So RDA is our federal accountability, which doesn't match our state accountability. What I'm gonna show you here is we're gonna target state accountability because in meets is where we got flagged at the high school, right? It was in meets and math. But in RDA, it was actually science and social studies. So one of the things that we want to do and what we're hearing the teachers is don't give us trainings. Show me. And show me with our students, right? And the only thing that we have is Region 1, which it becomes difficult because you have to be content knowledgeable. That's what we were discussing, Ms. Aguilar and I, because we can bring there's great people who can train in bilingual. They don't have the content. They don't have the specific social studies content. So they don't have the specific Algebra 1 content, right? And that's where it becomes difficult. Or you have great presenters, they cannot teach kids, right? So that's what we're struggling with. So tomorrow, Ms. Aguilar and I, because the target right now is the high school. As you can see, it's in the high school where it teaches the most, right? So we're trying to support the high school the most, specifically when you see an EOC. Like you see, like that's where you see the gap, widen the most. It's at the high school. So tomorrow, Ms. Aguilar and I have a meeting with the administrators at Region 1 because that's what we want. We want content-specific trainers that can model with our students. So see, you take a class and teach me what you're saying that you want me to do. Don't tell me, like show me, right? And that's the way we're moving more towards more coaching than professional development because the teachers are asking for that. The other thing that we're gonna do is there's something that's called Swivel. So we've been doing several walkthroughs, and we have already pinpointed who not only our TIA teachers are, but who are great teachers who haven't got designated are, right? So how can we record them and leverage the great things that they're doing in the classroom to show the rest to see? So there's something that's called Swivel, that is gonna record the teachers and automatically goes to the cloud, right? So that we can share with teachers, look, like, this teacher has the same kids that you have, and look how she's, like, the one thing that we're struggling the most at the high school is that they say, we don't wanna do elementary strategies. And it's good practice, like, when you have everybody engaged, it's a mentality, it is a mentality, so it's being, showing them that ET, you're seeing how ET is very, very energetic, and she did it with the high school students.
She's energetic when she dresses up.
Yeah, no, and the kids, so like, we brought ET at the beginning of the year, and then she's coming back for the high school 3 days, and for the TMS 3 days in South Plaza.
Another thing for the high school is the test taking skills. That's a big one.
You're right.
They don't have the stamina to go through a 4-hour test. They don't have the skills not to be able to address. And I'm telling you from the facts and what I've experienced.
So for the recent immigrants, the swivel that we're gonna use to report the students also translates. I just need to figure it out if that's something that we can use during the test, because we don't wanna get the students used to an instructional practice that you cannot use at the test, but it automatically translates like what the teacher is teaching. So like if they don't have a language, it has like AI. It really leverages AI. So like if the kid asks AI, well, tell me how does it, show me a visual. Or what is the teacher saying? Translate it for me. It automatically do it. So it's like a big iPad where you can put it in for like table, and it will be translating for the kids, that at least the kids are learning something and not completely lost, right? Because we are seeing that the greatest area of need is at the high school. So we're trying to support the high school the most. And you see it, to Ms. Flores' point, it's in RDA, in the federal accountability, it was social studies. I am gonna say what Ms. Garcia said, that we're focusing on progress rather than perfect. When I got here, we were stage 4 in bilingual. Last year was the first year that we didn't have to meet with TA, we were stage 2. And we're hoping that this year we're stage 2 again, because what they do is they rank you, right? And automatically, when you're a 4, you're automatically staged. And we were at a 4 in bilingual. So hopefully our scores were good enough to make it to stage 2. Where you don't have to meet with TA, we won't know until November 18th. And these are our scores. And again, to Mr. Coronado's point, at the high school, you get to hit the kids that have been consistently struggling. They don't get to exit the program because those are the kids who are not passing, those are the kids who struggle the most, right? So what we're trying to do is support the high school the most, trying to do more coaching rather than professional development, because the teachers is like, don't talk, show me, right?
And I think, I'm sorry to interrupt, I think you mentioned it right now when we were talking about the mentality. Teachers didn't think that TELPAS was important enough when you compare it to STAR. But once you see the accountability system, it's right there. I mean, the TELPAS counts as much as STAR.
ADMR, everything.
Yes,
Yeah. So for TELPAS, the other thing that we have Summit K-12. So elementary was doing a really good results because they were consistently using it, but the high school wasn't. So that's where the interventionist came in last year, the state compensatory interventionist. She pulls out the students for beginners intermediate, and she works with them only on language development. And we're seeing increasing numbers of immigrants, so she has specific periods where she's just working. So it's an additional period to the additional periods that she has, just working on language. Because we know like this is really what is gonna move the needle, definitely.
25 meters.
So these are scores for listening. Really, the one that we're struggling the most is speaking. That's what Dr. E.T. was targeting. She was targeting the speaking and the writing. And the kids seemed to love them, which was great. And not only were the kids having fun, but the teachers were there observing the strategies that she was implementing. Because it's like, that's the expectation that we have for you in the classroom.
Do you have non-negotiables at the high school? I didn't answer.
Non-negotiables.
It's a list of like things that you say, like your work all is non-negotiable. Your student expectation is a non-negotiable.
Well, I can tell you with the visits with Region 1,
now they mentioned those. I mean, if you have visits from Region 1,
now we're getting some non-negotiables. Like I some of them, but I'm gonna tell you, I disagree with them. And I told her like one of the things was that we had to have posted the rules, and I'm like, look at the school culture. You don't see kids misbehaving. Kids are
need the mission and vision statement.
So little things that, ask the kids and they'll tell you the rules, right? Like look at the school culture, look at the bigger picture, but like there's some things that they're asking supposed to. don't think it works yet. And the last one that I need to, let you know of is the students, the teachers who are going in an emergency programs. So we do have an emergency program on a bilingual waiver. We do have 5 teachers who are going on a bilingual waiver. Everybody in secondary is CSL certified, but we do have 5 teachers, and some of them are new teachers who barely hired, who are not bilingually certified, so we have to submit a waiver to comply with federal law, but we're hoping that by next year they'll get certified. Any questions? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right, we'll need a motion for C1. Motion by Ms. Villarreal. Second, Ms. Flores, all in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes. At this time, we go to 24, 25 student health advisory council members. That's, Ms. Rocha.
Or good evening,
Good evening.
Mr. President and board members. It's just basically our shop committee to address the members. There's a couple of members on here to get the approval of the board to pursue with these members for this year's shop committee.
Can you add one parent? Or do you only have one parent?
I think we have 2. But yes, we can add, and then oh, yes. We had another one that wasn't able to make it just because of meeting time, so we can go ahead and recruit more parents. It's always better to have more parents.
Where's that list? Oh,
But we can, if with your approval of this list, we can append in at least 2 or 3 more times. And we can work on that before the first shot. But we do have a diverse representation. We have each campus represented on there. Our PR, our nurses.
You should have a parent like from each campus.
Each campus.
so we'll approve it and then she could do
We'll
it.
approve it pending a parent from the other
Pending,
campus. I believe she doesn't have it.
I need a motion for that, please.
Motion to approve.
Pending.
One parent from each campus.
All right, motion by Ms. Flores. Second by Martinez, all in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes. Interlocal agreement between South Texas College Progressive Early College System.
Mr. President, members of the board, this is a renewal with South Texas College for our early college.
Mr. Renewal. Yes. Motion by Villarreal. Second by Flores, all in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes. At this time, we go to D4, Regional Education Service Center.
Yes, sir. We have a MOA with Region 1, First Aid Region 1, for the Ascender information system. That's the software that we utilize for business and students. The total cost is $58,959.
Any questions from Mr. Hernandez? Whatever. Motion Villarreal. Second Martinez, all in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes. At this time, we go to D5 for the matter related to payment, including going out for bids. And I think this is Coronel.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, we have a huge need when it comes to pavement district-wide. We're gonna start, with your permission, analyzing the needs, especially at DTMS. I don't know if you've been at DTMS previously.
And the thing is that we, yes, correct. So that's one of the areas, and I was talking to Mr. Coronel as well. A lot of, I know Ms. Martinez is an FFA parent, and if we go down the road, the high school, and we need to get the FFA going as well.
Can we do the EPA grant for this?
Actually.
That's what I was thinking
Yes.
too, because if we could do that grant, but the thing is, he said we could get that grant by December.
We need to get the bids with that kind of whatever.
Yeah, no, what we're doing, even the high school HVAC, we put it as documentation to try to get the money back as a payment.
We're trying.
From the grant.
No,
We're gonna get it.
So whatever money we get,
it's just, we're
we're
gonna get it
gonna
back.
reimburse ourselves for the projects that we already done.
So then you gotta talk to, what's his name?
Mr. Lázaro?
Make
So-
sure we're doing the right material.
Yes.
So on D5, it's just to get you guys all know, it's, we're giving them authorization, because I know it's on not only the junior high or the FFA, but we're gonna check the other campuses. I know the administration, you guys here at the administration, you guys need parking as well, so that's why they're going out for bids for all that.
Now, the 600,000 that you said for the FFA includes the payment, or is the?
No, that's something else, and I'll talk to you about that during executive session, but no, that, we did an analysis just to present to you.
So I think Chief, Ms. Flores is right, we could with that EPA grant. I think we already went out, we're gonna post it for bidding, right? It takes what, 2 weeks?
Yes.
And then by the time we get the bids, by the time we, all right, we'll be here. Yeah. We'll be with it. All right, I'll need a motion for defect. Motion, Ms. Guerrero. Second, Martinez, all in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes. D6, I don't think we have anything, no? Okay, we'll go to cash disbursements around this.
Total cash disbursement for the month is $1,095,164.
Any questions on reviewing your cash disbursements? All right, investment report, F2.
Total current earnings for the month, 43,600, with total investment of 10,360,000.
I need a motion to, motion Guerrero. Second, Martinez, all in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes. Tax collection, how are we doing that?
Total tax collection is 4,391. We get everything December, January.
So we're like at what, 8%?
6%.
6%. But my deal is on the tax collection, we're doing good compared to from last year.
Last year was 6% actually, and this year is some 2%.
All right, I need a motion for the tax. Motion, Ms. Villarreal. Second, Martinez, all in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes. This time, do you have budget update?
Yes, with budget update, total revenue received, 1.7 million. Total expenditures, 732,000, with 478,000 of encumbrances.
Need a motion? Motion, Ms. Villarreal. Second, Ms. Flores, all in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes. This time, we go to public policy update.
Yes, sir, this is the policy update CV, this is to align policy CV to, with local policy CH. Policy CV states that any construction contract that's $1,000 or more needs to be approved with the board, but, or purchasing a policy states that anything, any construction, any goods and service that costs $50,000 or more needs to be available.
Why was that? When you did those changes, why was the purchasing 50,000, the construction 10,000? What's the reasoning behind it?
Yes, the CH, the reason behind it was that we were bringing a lot of purchase orders when, means,
With TA,
from metal industry.
from metal industry.
We were bringing all the purchase orders, such as electricity,
And why don't we go back to 10,000? That way we have more power than you
Because,
do. Es verdad?
no, that's fine. I understand, but the, for example, the DTMS, the big plumbing issue, that was one of the main cases that we had a huge leak, a plumbing issue back here. So that's the thing, that we want to try to give him a little bit more authorization, because those are emergencies. We don't have to wait till, okay, you know what, let's turn off the water, let's wait till the board meeting.
So it was
and
50,000 to fix that.
No, but I'm just, it's just an example.
It was about
I was like, oh,
We're like
don't give me that.
no.
Give me a real one.
No, so
No, but
basically, this came from TASB, just to align
As-
both. The other one, we had it at 50,000, this one, we have it at 10,000, so it's not jiving.
Does it have to be a one?
That's what they recommend.
That's what
I mean,
TASB
yeah.
recommends. Basically,
This one is already 10,000. So the policy CV is at 10,000.
that's
The one that we have at 50,000 is the purchasing one. So what TASB recommended was you guys need to align and put this one to 50,000. And in reality, it's up to you. It's just a recommendation that came from TASB. I mean, in reality, if it's 10,000 or 50,000, you're gonna know. It comes in the report of expenditures.
Any questions? No, right? Motion is read. Second, Martinez, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, motion passes. It's 8:12. And we're going to executive session.